Hello, I'm David Hart, Executive Vice President at the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line. Our special guest today is Representative Mike La Rosa. Representative, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Representative, I'd like to start with two issues that you've been sponsoring this year, two pieces of legislation that are very important to the business community. The first one has to do with something called developments of regional impact. It looks to me like you've put some better processes in place, and I wonder if you could describe a little bit about what this would do in terms of growth management issues.
Sure. You know, what we're doing this year is just really piggybacking from what we did last year. And last year we got rid of the DRI process, and now we're coming back and just making some adjustments that were necessary for the existing DRIs around the state. It's kind of funny because DRI should have been eliminated years and years ago. We've now allowed locals to go back and amend their comprehensive plans and have a statewide process for that, but then somehow still kept DRIs involved. So this is going to allow existing DRIs to come back and make changes and have some clarity of what they're going to do, moving forward in the future. So I think it's great for developers and, of course, great for the state of Florida as we're growing now over 20 million people in our great state.
Thanks for those process improvements. We appreciate it. And as we do have nearly 1,000 more people coming to our state every day again, and our data shows us that we'll have 6 million more residents by 2030, those improvements can be very helpful. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Prepares the way. A second piece of legislation you've sponsored this year deals with the reemployment assistance fraud that's becoming pretty rampant out there in that program. Thank you for your work on that. Tell our viewers a little bit about what you're trying to tackle, how big is the fraud, and what would you do to cure it?
Sure. When a DEO came to me a few months back before session had gotten started and started talking about, what were some of their big issues, and they had, shared with me that over the last 18 months, they had stopped what they were seeing as unemployment fraud, with folks stealing IDs and going onto their system and trying to get reemployment assistance. And we saw numbers of up to almost $600 million that ultimately could have been tapped into, which have been horrible for our state and, of course, our businesses around our state that are paying into unemployment. So what we're looking to do is just crack down some more and enhance the penalties, give DEO a little bit more flexibility now, have access to driver's license photos so they can do some more verifications. They've done great in the last 18 months, and I look forward to them continuing to stop this and hopefully send those folks out of our state and get them out of here so we can save our businesses the money that they've been working hard for.
I can tell you on behalf of Florida Chamber members, we really appreciate your efforts there. After all, it's employers that pay into that fund, and although rates have been coming down this year, anytime there's that element of fraud out there, it has the potential to drive rates back up, so appreciate what you're doing. Last question has to do with the tax cut package this year. The Florida House has passed a $1 billion tax cut, and I would say probably the anchor piece of the House tax package addresses something called the business rent tax, and doing away with the first 2 cents of that 6-cent sales tax that Florida's the only state to charge. You're a realtor back home. You probably understand why this is important, kind of on the front lines. Tell us about, from a realtor's perspective, why do we need to do this?
Well, tax cuts are great for all taxpayers around our state. I believe that those dollars are best in their pockets, and when it comes down to small businesses, it's kind of crazy to think that Florida is the only state right now that has a business tax, has a commercial real estate tax. And I've seen it on the front line. I've seen it to where a small business is trying to make that hurdle, either move out of their house or move out of a small operation and get an office. And sometimes those few $100s a month makes a difference whether they move forward on that next venture or not. So I think it's going to be a major impact. I mean, those are our job creators in our state. So they certainly deserve that tax cut.
We'll appreciate your work on that too. And to our members, thank you for joining us on another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line.